Hey guys, are you looking to improve your strength for balance? If so, I've got something really special for you today. This is the second workout from the most popular program in my online members area. This program is called the Strength Foundations course, and this workout is specifically focused on helping you build hip strength, core strength, and even work on your breathing for balance, both in yoga and also in other types of fitness. Give this workout a shot. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, and I look forward to seeing you on future workouts. You're going to need a block for today's workout, just one, and we're going to start off on your back. Let's get down on the ground. So we're going to start off the same way we started yesterday, with your knees pulling toward your shoulders, lightly gripping your knees, trying to keep your lower back flat on the ground, keeping the ribs drawn in, your abs tight, your neck relaxed, shoulders relaxed away from the ears, and breathing in and out of the nose. So just like yesterday, focusing on breathing, inhaling to expand your chest, so lifting your belly up, inhaling all the way from your pubic bone up to your sternum. And then as you exhale, squeezing all the air out, squeezing your belly button toward your lower back. I'm going to do about a minute here. And as you inhale, the chest does lift up. So you're not deliberately lifting your chest up, but you're filling up, again, the area from your pubic bone to your sternum with air. So inflating your chest. There's a conception, maybe a misconception in the fitness world that you should keep your abs tight all the time and that you should keep your ribs drawn in, or keep your abs tight and try to keep a flat stomach. But you can actually keep your abs tight and still inflate your chest. So again, focus on breathing, expand your chest, stick out your belly, and then as you exhale, squeeze out all the air. And that's when you're trying to make that flat chest. So squeezing your belly button toward the lower back, making yourself basically as thin as possible as you exhale all the air. 2 more breaths like that, full breaths. Last one. All right, and then a single leg reverse crunch. So I'm going to have you bring your left leg straight out, press your heel forward this time and reach your toes back toward your shin. So this time we're working on dorsiflexion as opposed to plantar flexion, so reaching the toes toward the shins. And then you're going to bring your right knee in toward your shoulder, but keep it straight above your chest. Don't bring it out to the side this time. You can lightly press your hands into your right thighs if you want. Again, we're going to really focus on pushing your left heel forward, reaching the toes toward the shin. This is important to have this ankle mobility for a squat. And we're also working on core strength as we keep the leg lifted. Make sure that your leg isn't going too low to the ground. And if you do feel pain in your lower back, you can lift the leg a little bit higher. Again, just lightly pressing your hands into your thigh. Inhaling to fill up, and then exhaling to tighten, belly button to spine, and also tightening by pressing hands into thighs and the thigh back into the hand. 2 more breaths. Keep the toes reaching back toward the shin. Press your left heel forward. 1 more breath. And then switch sides. So now your right heel goes forward, reach your right toes back toward your shin. Now press your hands into your left thigh. And again, keep the keep your right leg up. If you do feel pain in your back, lift that leg a little bit higher. Pull your belly button toward your lower back as you're exhaling. And again, as you're inhaling, try to expand your belly. About 30 more seconds here. If you need to take a break, just go ahead and release and then come back up when you're ready. The exercises in this series
especially in these first few workouts, are very simple. How difficult they are depends on how much you want to push yourself. So push yourself here. This is the workout. Press your hands into your thigh, thigh back into your hand. Reach your right toes toward your shin, press your right heel forward. Belly button squeezes toward your lower back as you exhale. Keep your shoulders lightly lifted. Shouldn't feel any straining in the neck. One more breath. All right, and then relax. Nicely done. We're going to move on to our side. We're going to do some more adductions, sideline, and I'm going to add in one more variation for you. So again, we're going to stack your left leg on top of your right leg, lying on your right side. Squeeze your left leg up. Press the heel and the toes. Sorry, the heel presses forward, toes reach back toward your shin. Squeeze your left hip up. Keep the abs tight. Keep your hips facing straight out to the side. And then go ahead and release. Come back up. 5 seconds, as hard as you can. Press forward, reach up. 3, 2, 1. Come back down. And then back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back down. Last one, back up. 5, 4, 3, reach the toes back, press the heel forward, squeeze the hip up, and release down. All right, now crossing your left leg over your right leg, foot plants in front of the right knee. Squeeze your right inner thigh, lift your leg, keep your toes reaching back toward the shin, press your right heel forward, and again, lift that right leg as high as you can, keeping the leg straight. Don't do anything funky with the ankle. Make sure that the ankle is neutral. Squeeze up a little bit higher. 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Coming back up with the exhale. 1, 2, 5 seconds. 3, 4, a little bit higher. 5, and release. And again. Toes reach back. Toes face straight out to the side. Squeeze your leg up. Heel drives forward. 3, 2, 1. Release. Come back up. Squeeze up. Reach the toes back. Squeeze your inner thigh toward your left thigh. Lift a little bit higher. 3, 2, 1. Release. Last one. Squeeze up. Reach the toes back. Again, inner thigh. This is focused on strengthening your hip. It's going to support the knee, prevent injury, and also prevent lower back discomfort. 3, a little bit higher. 2, 1, relax. Next variation, this is new. Stack your left leg on top of your right leg. Turn your left toes out 45 degrees, and now lift your leg. This is going to target your glutes. So now we're working on your hips a little bit more than the inner thighs. Squeeze up a little bit more. You're going to start to feel a little bit of fatigue through the hip, through your butt. That's good. Again, try to keep your hips facing straight out to the sides. You're turning your toes up a little bit more, squeezing up a little bit higher. And it's not about how high you can get. It's more about getting that right muscle activation. So it's feeling those muscles engage. Again, toes turning up, squeezing the leg up, keeping your hips facing out to the side. You want to make sure that you're not turning your hips open toward the ceiling. That's a no-no. So if you can't turn your toes out that much yet, that's fine. You just don't have that mobility yet. But try to turn your toes out as much as you can and then lift. We'll do 10 more seconds here. A little bit higher. Turn it out a little bit more. 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Give it a little shake. And round 2, go ahead and turn the toes out, lift the leg, keep the hips facing out. Keep your abs tight, keep your hips facing straight out to the side. And as you exhale, maybe turning those toes out a little bit more. So inhaling to maintain. Exhaling to turn out a little bit more, keeping the hips neutral, squared to the outside, maybe lifting a little bit more. We're going to do about 20 more seconds here. And again, if you're reaching that point where your legs are starting to shake, that's a good thing. That's what we want to have happen here. If you're doing these exercises and you're not feeling any shaking, you're not feeling any fatigue, that means that you're really not getting too much out of these exercises. It means you're already really strong or you're not trying hard enough. So either try harder or try harder. A little bit higher, last 5 seconds. Turn the toes out, 3, 2, 1, and release. All right, flipping sides. So now we're going to go on to the left side. We're going to start by stacking your right leg on top of your left leg and then squeezing the hip up. Press your heel forward, reach your toes back toward your shin. Make sure that your hips are still squared straight to the outside, so your right hip is right on top of your left hip, and squeeze up. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, release. So I'm just showing you a couple of different ways that we can do these sideline hip abductions. Lift up. So this one way, we're kind of doing a short pulse, right? So we're doing our kind of a longer pulse. We're doing 5 seconds at a time, the way we did it yesterday, and with the exercise we did where the toes are turned up, holding it for about 30 to 60 seconds. Go ahead and release. So you can try out different ways. Lift up again. Toes reach back, keep the ankle active. Squeeze your thigh, lift a little bit more. 3, 2, 1. Release. And again, come back up. Keep the ankle active. Keep the abs tight. Keep the hips stacked. A little bit higher. 3, 2, 1. Release. And again, back up. Second last one. Squeeze the toes in. Press the heel out. Make your right leg as long as you can. And then lift up a little bit more. 3, 2, 1. Release. Last one. Come back up. Squeeze your leg up. Drive your leg out. Make it as long as you can. Press the heel forward. Lift your leg a little bit higher. 3. Toes back. 2, 1. And release. All right, now cross your right leg over your left leg. Plant the foot kind of in front of the knee. And now adduction, squeezing the thighs toward one another. Squeeze your left leg up. Keep your toes reaching back toward the shin. Make sure you're not doing anything funky with the toes or the ankle, keeping them neutral. Squeeze the leg up, 5 seconds. As high as you can. 3, 2, 1. Release. Coming back up. Next exhale. Again, try to make your left leg as long as possible. Press it toward the wall that it's facing, and then lift up a little bit higher. Reach the toes back, ankle active. 3, 2, 1. Release. Come back up. Squeeze it up. Ankle active. Inner thigh engaged. Squeeze up. Lift a little bit higher. Challenge your inner thigh. You want to feel those muscles on fire. 3, 2, 1. Release. Second last one. Come up. Squeeze it up higher, higher, higher. Keep the ankle neutral. Keep your hips stacked. 3, 2, 1. Release. And last one here. Next exhale, come up. Again, make that leg as long as possible. Press your heel away from the hips. Lift your leg up, up, up. 3, a little bit higher. 2, 1, and release. All right, stack your right leg on top of your left leg again. Moving to the other leg, you're going to turn your right toes to face up. Keep your hips stacked. And now lift your toes straight up. And we're just going to hold this one, right? This one's the one we're going to do for 30 seconds. This is a new one. So we're working on turning your toes up while keeping your hips stacked on top of one another. If you notice that the hips are rolling back and your hips are facing kind of up and out, make sure that the hips come down. Right hip on top of the left hip. So as you turn the toes out, you might have that tendency for the hips to turn out. Prevent that from happening. If you can't turn your toes out that much at first, that's fine. You'll develop that mobility as you practice this exercise and all the other exercises in this program. Lift up a little bit higher. See if you can turn your toes out a little bit more. Again, you're going to feel this in your right glute and the outer thigh. Last 10 seconds for this first set. Turn out a little bit more with the exhale. And release. All right, let it relax. Shake it out. Second set, come up, toes out, lift the leg. So as you're inhaling, you are maintaining your position. As you exhale, externally rotating a little bit more, maybe contracting or squeezing your glutes or your thighs a little bit more. Again, this is active muscle engagement. You need to focus in order to make this work. It's not going to automatically happen. And as you practice active muscle engagement, eventually it becomes subconscious. Eventually you don't have to think about it. But at first, you do need to focus on it. It's just like any habit. Eventually it will become second nature. You won't have to think about it. But initially, you do have to worry about it. You do have to think about it. Just like anything. Turn the toes out a little bit more. 10 more seconds. Lift up a little bit more. Focus on that right glute. Exhale. Turn out a little bit more. 3, 2, 1. And then release. All right. From here, we're going to go back onto your back. We're going to work on twisting a little bit more. This time, we're going to add a new wrinkle to what you learned yesterday. So start with your your knees over your hips. Bring your legs out to the right. We're going to start with a static reclined twist, or a non-moving. So right hand goes to the left thigh, left rib cage pulls down, right? So tightening the abs, and you're pressing the left shoulder toward the ground. So I want to feel activation through my abs. So the abs are active. I want to feel my left outer thigh active because I'm pushing the outside of my left knee into my hand. And I'm also going to feel my left shoulder engaged here. Abs stay tight. As you inhale, you're expanding your belly. As you exhale, tightening through your abs, squeezing your belly button toward your spine. One more breath. Really squeezing the abs tight, belly button to spine. Come back to the middle and switch sides. So now, legs over to the left, left hand to the outside of the right knee, right rib cage pulls down toward the ground. You're going to feel your abs tighten, you're going to feel the outer right thigh engage, and your right arm comes out to the right, outside of the right shoulder pressing toward the ground. Breathe here. Inhale to expand your belly. Exhale, squeeze your belly button toward your lower back. Keep practicing that. 3 more breaths. Exhale to push and squeeze. Pushing hand to thigh, thigh to hand, and squeezing belly button to lower back. Last breath. All right, come back to the middle, knees back over the thighs, knees over the hips once more. And now we're going to do one breath and twist. So you're going to inhale to the outside, so inhale to the right. And as you exhale, squeeze your belly, squeeze your abs to pull your legs back toward the middle. So I'm not using my arms and my shoulders to push into the ground. I'm using my core strength to twist my knees back to the middle. So inhale your legs to the left now. Exhale, tighten the abs, squeeze back toward the middle. To the right. Inhale. Exhale, back to the middle. And I'm not letting my right knee or my outer knee touch the ground here. I'm bringing it about 1 inch away from the ground and then squeezing back, using my abs to bring it back to the middle. So we're going to do about 5 more on each side here, just practicing. And if you want to make this even with the inhale and exhale, count out 3 or 4, and then count 3 or 4 back in. Keep going. Your shoulders should stay on the ground here. If you notice that one shoulder comes off the ground, the opposite shoulder comes off the ground as you're going to one side, that's okay. You just might not have that mobility in your spine yet for twisting. And as you practice this, as you do it more and more, you will develop that mobility. So what we're doing right now is a core strengthening exercise for your abs mainly, but this is also a really good exercise to work on the mobility of your spine and release tension in the lower back. So whenever you tighten your abs or whenever you feel your abs are working, that's usually releasing tension in the lower back. So again, when one side of the body engages, the opposing muscle group relaxes. So this is a good example of that here. Keep it up, almost done. You've got one more to each side. So make sure that you finish on the opposite side of which you started. Last one. Maybe your last one. All right. And then release. So we did some reclined twists, and now we're going to stand up, and we're going to work on mountain pose again. So we did this yesterday, but mountain pose is pretty important, so we're going to do that again today. And again, just like yesterday, I'm going to have you grab a block to do this. So grab the block, place it between your thighs, stand with your feet 4 to 6 inches apart, pending the thickness of the block and your own thighs. And again, starting from the ground up, pushing down through the toes, pushing through the heels, thighs internally rotate, not to the point where your knees are facing in toward one another or it feels awkward, but just a little bit of an internal rotation. And then glutes engage, so tighten your glutes just a little bit, not to the point where you're driving your hips way forward, but just a little bit of engagement. Tighten your abs, lift your ribs away from your hips, pull your shoulders up, back, and down. Palms face forward, pull your chin toward your chest, pull your neck toward the back, relax your chin toward your throat, and then push the top of your head toward the ceiling. So you're getting as tall as you can here. And we're just going to spend about a minute here breathing in mountain pose. So again, the thighs are active, core is active. We want to feel like we're growing with every inhale. So inhale doesn't mean that you arch your back and you lift your shoulders up. Just means that you try to lift your ribs up, and we're trying to get taller, but we're not sacrificing any of the form here. Staying active through the legs, pushing down evenly through both sides. So you might notice that you push down through one leg more than the other. Fix it if you do. And the chest is open because my palms are facing forward. Notice that when your palms face forward, your shoulder blades come down and they come toward one another. That's what we want, especially because most of us spend the day with poor posture, sitting at a desk, standing in line, whatever it is, we probably have bad posture, and this is practicing good posture. We do 3 more breaths here, in silence. Maybe close your eyes to help with just paying attention to your body. All right, and then relax, take the block out. We're gonna work on overhead arms. So proper positioning for when your arms go overhead. So first thing, I'm gonna have you bring your arms straight out in front of you. Stand pretty much like you were for mountain pose, just without the block this time. And then turn your palms to face up. Now from here, with your biceps facing up, I want you to squeeze your arms up and back as much as you possibly can. Notice that as you start to get your arms up, you're going to feel stretching kind of in the armpit area through your lats and through your rotator cuff. This is normal. Now, the difficulty in bringing your arms overhead is that most people arch their back to get their arms overhead. So make sure that you're not arching your back to cheat and get your arms straight up, but you're keeping the neutral stance that you had for mountain pose with your spine, and then trying to squeeze your arms back and up. So you're going to feel your upper back muscles engage here as you squeeze the arms back. And again, you'll feel stretching kind of around the armpit and through your lats. As you exhale, squeezing back a little bit more. As you inhale, maintaining. Make sure that you keep your neck relaxed. I know that I have this habit where I tend to do some funky stuff with my neck here, pushing my neck forward or too far back or off-centered. Try to keep your neck relaxed here. Chin relaxed toward the throat, neck pulling toward the back. And if you're doing this and keeping the ribs drawn in, and you're keeping neutral chest, this is pretty difficult to get your arms all the way back, especially if you have poor posture or your shoulders are tight. All right, and then go ahead and relax. So that was variation number 1. The 2 other variations I'm going to show you are the easier ways to do this. So again, we're going to start off in a mountain pose, toes touching, heels about an inch apart. Keep your ribs drawn in, keep your body neutral, keep your chest neutral. And this time I'm going to have you bend your arms. So bend your elbows just a little bit. Wrap your palms to face back, and then squeeze your arms back as much as you possibly can. Now this is going to be easier for you. There will be less tension in your neck and in your shoulders, and it's going to help you get a kind of a better stretch through your back maybe, but also, again, not creating any tension in the neck or the shoulders, which is important to yoga. So my arms are bent. I'm squeezing my arms back, keeping the shoulders relaxed down. Palms, again, wrapping toward the back, so there is that external rotation, so my biceps face toward the back. And you'll do this whenever you're doing anything with your arms overhead. So when you do a chair pose, this is going to be what you're practicing with your arms overhead. When you do a warrior 1, when your arms are overhead, or maybe a high lunge with your arms overhead, this is what you're going to practice. So again, we're focusing on external rotation of the arms, the biceps wrapping back. We're keeping the shoulders down and relaxed, and we want to feel the upper back working as we squeeze our arms back. And that's going to help with strengthening your back, strengthening your shoulders, and opening up the chest. All right, go ahead and relax. Final variation, I'm going to have you grab a block, hold it so that the longest part of the block is between your hands, and then just bring your arms straight up overhead, pressing the block together. Now this is a very active variation because we're exhibiting strength by pressing our hands together. But this is actually going to help us get a little bit deeper into this arms overhead. So most likely you will be able to get your arms further back than you would if you weren't pushing your hands together. So this is a really good drill to work on getting the arms further back. And just like we did before, you can also bend the elbows to help get the arms back. And if you look at my chest here, I'm not arching my back, right? I'm not splaying open my ribs to get my chest to get my arms overhead. I'm keeping my ribs drawn in, keeping my abs tight, so that instead of just arching my back, I'm actually opening up my chest and I'm getting some good mobility work through my shoulders. All right, go ahead and relax. Now we're going to do a standing side stretch. So I'm going to have you bring your toes together, heels about an inch apart. Turn your palms to face forward. Bring your left arm straight up. Turn your palms to face back, turn the bicep to face back. Bring your right hand along your side, palm on the thigh, and then press up and over with your left hand. Reach your chest up, push the top of your head toward the ceiling, and try to make kind of a banana shape with your body here. Now I'm keeping your right hand on your side here because I want you to focus on staying tall. So maybe you press your right hand into your thigh here for a little bit of added support. This is what I want you to work on. So we're working on the ab engagement. So pushing your hips toward the left, keeping your core tight to help stay upright. You want to push the top of your head toward the ceiling. We're wrapping the bicep to face back, so your palm is actually going to face back as well. And again, staying really tall here, pushing down through the feet, keeping the legs active, keeping your core active. Now this standing side bend we're doing is a core exercise primarily. You're also going to feel stretching through the outside of your body, the left side of your body, the hip, and your legs are engaged as well. A lot of stretching through the shoulders. All right, go ahead and release that. Release your left hand down. Shake it out. And now bring your right arm up. Turn your bicep to face back. Palm faces back. Press the arm up. Relax your left arm along your side. Maybe pressing the left hand into the thigh. Push down through your heels, right? So pushing down evenly through the feet, making sure your legs are straight. Squeeze your thighs. Tighten the abs. Lift your ribs away from your hips to get tall. Push the top of your head up. And then bend to the side. All right, so we're making a nice long banana shape with the body here. Top of the head pressing up. As you inhale, we get taller. As you exhale, we go deeper into the bend. You want to feel active engagement through the abs, so you shouldn't feel like you're just pushing your hips to the side and collapsing here. So if you feel like there's pinching in your left side here, get tall, use the abs. Again, we want to stay really tall here. That's what's going to help with proper core engagement, and that's what's going to help with improving our active mobility and active muscle engagement in this. Stay tall. 10 more seconds. And you want your torso facing straight forward here. So if you notice, maybe you're turning out to the side a little bit. The tendency here is to turn down a little bit to the outside. So use a mirror. Make sure that you're facing straight forward. All right, and go ahead and release. Next, we're going to do a standing back bend. So I'm going to have you bring your arms straight up, just like we were doing before. Turn your palms to face back. Press down through your heels, press down through your toes. Tighten the abs. Lift your ribs up away from your hips. Press the top of your head toward the ceiling, and then just look slightly up at the ceiling. Now, tendency here is for the neck to collapse. So I want you to focus on pulling, right, kind of lengthening the back of the neck, maybe even grabbing your head and pulling it up and away from the shoulders. Now, this is going to help with strengthening your upper back. A big problem I see here is that people just let the upper back relax, and that's actually bad because we're not strengthening the upper neck and we're creating tension in the neck that we shouldn't. So try to keep your head nice, keep the neck nice and long, keep the head up, lift up your chest, and you want to feel engagement through the upper back here. Try to keep your lower back neutral. So if you notice that your butt is kind of poking out behind you, tighten your glutes, press the hips forward a little bit. And again, thighs are still internally rotated. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed, lifting up. So as you inhale, we get taller. As we exhale, increasing the depth of the back bend, but not going that deep here, especially with this first lesson. 10 more seconds. Stay tall. Again, it's not so much important about the depth here. I just want you focusing on the proper core activation, pushing down through your feet, and keeping your neck long to protect your spine. 3, 2, 1, and then release. All right, nicely done with the standing side and back bends. Now we're going to do some balancing, and this is how we're going to finish off today. So if you stand on your right leg, push down through your right foot, squeeze your right hip, so you want to squeeze the butt, and then lift your left knee up to hip level. And you're just going to stand here. Right leg is straight, and we want to mimic a lot of what we did in mountain pose. So the thigh internally rotates, the right glute flexes a little bit. Want to pull the ribs up away from the hips, relax the chin toward the throat, and push the top of the head toward the ceiling. All palms are facing forward. And you're going to feel a lot of the muscles that we worked when we were doing the hip, when we were doing those sideline hip abductions. You're going to feel those muscles working here. So that's how we practice those. Again, that's for balance. So if you feel that you're kind of falling out of it, just keep trying. We're going to do this for a full minute. Just holding this balanced posture, strengthening the hips, strengthening the knees, the ankles. And again, just one reminder for technique, pushing down through your big toes, pushing down through the heel, internal rotation to the thigh, external rotation to the hips. So our whole hip, thigh, and ankle are active. Abs are tight, ribs lifting up, getting tall, top of the head pressing toward the ceiling, palms facing forward. Last 10 seconds here. I don't know if that was actually a minute. I'm just assuming. And if you're shaking through the thighs, that's a good thing. 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Take as many breaks as you need in that. All right, opposite side. So now we're going to put the weight into the left leg, push down through the big toe, push down through the heel, squeeze the left hip, bring your right knee up to hip level. And again, left thigh internally rotates, left glute engages, pull the ribs up away from the hips, press the top of the head toward the ceiling, relax your chin toward your throat, palms facing forward, and just breathe. Again, you're going to feel your whole thigh, your whole leg engage here. And if you start to fall out of it, do what you can to get back into it. I don't recommend, if you fall out of it, slowly get back into it. You don't need to fall out of it and then immediately jump right back to it because you probably won't have a lot of stability that way. So go nice and slow as you're coming back into it. Again, staying as tall as you can. This is very similar to mountain pose, except we've just got one leg up in the air. So chin toward the throat, top of the head pressing up, staying as tall as we can, pushing down firmly through your big toe and your heel. We've got about 15 seconds left here. Inhale, get taller. Exhale, squeeze, improve the muscle activation. And then release. All right, one more each side, and then adding in a little wrinkle here. So now standing on your right foot, press down to the big toe, press down to the heel, squeeze your thigh, lift the knee up, ribs up, top of the head toward the ceiling. Get set here. Make sure that you're feeling the hip engage. Again, staying nice and tall. Abs are staying tight. And now press your hand, left hand to your left thigh. Push your left thigh lightly back into the hand. This is very similar to what we were doing at the beginning of this workout with the hands to thigh exercise. The reason why this is really good is because this is a big strengthener for your hip flexor. Hip flexors tend to get weak, especially if you spend a lot of time sitting. When your hip flexors are weak, that means that the knees are at risk, the hips are at risk, and your hips, your ligaments and the muscles in your hips are at risk as well. So again, pressing your hand into your thigh. If this is difficult, that's fine. That's what we're here for. It should be challenging. 15 seconds. Stay tall. Press your hand into your thigh. Push your thigh back up into your hand a little bit harder. 10 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and then release. All right, other side. Last pose, last side. Press down into your left toe, the big toe, and into the heel, and into your small toe as well, so all of the toes. Pull your ribs up, tighten the abs, lift your right knee away from the ground, squeeze the left hip. Press the top of your head toward the ceiling, relax your chin toward your throat, and breathe. You're gonna breathe no matter what. Well, maybe you're not. Sometimes you hold your breath, sometimes you tend to hold your breath in yoga. So remember to constantly breathe. And try to maintain control of your breathing, so slow and controlled. That's going to help you hold the postures longer. All right, now right hand into your right thigh. Push your right thigh back up into the hand. You might notice that one hip is weaker than the other. That's totally normal. Don't worry about it. Stay tall, and make sure that you're not bending your left knee at all. So if you notice, maybe you tend to bend the knee forward and lean back a little bit. Make sure that your shoulders are staying right on top of your heels, right? So hips right above the heel, shoulders right above the hips. 20 seconds left here. Keep squeezing that left hip. Keep staying up tall. Keep driving the hand into your right thigh, the right thigh back up into the hand. Again, this basic balance is incredible for your fitness. We're working on hip strength, core strength, isometric strength, and we're working on stability for your knees and your hips as well. Last 10 seconds. A little bit harder. 5, push, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Woo! All right, that's your workout for the day. So today we worked on a lot of hip stuff, a lot of core stuff, and we also practice arm positioning for when your arms go up overhead. So this was lesson 2 of the Yoga Strength Foundation course. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next lesson. All right, guys, thanks for taking that journey with me. I hope you enjoyed the workout. Again, this is from the Strength Foundations course on my website in the members area for Manflow Yoga. We made this workout available for free, so you guys could check this out. Normally, we don't put out workouts that are this long for free, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you realize the benefits of what this type of yoga can do for your strength and your overall fitness. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell button to get notifications as soon as new workouts are released. And if you want to learn more, head to manflowyoga.com/join to get full access to all of my workouts and programs. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you on the next video.